The Cold War and the impact on Australia. The Cold War was the name given to the tensions between mainly America and what used to be the Soviet Union. After World War II, most countries allied themselves between the Eastern Bloc countries, shown in blue, which were communist authoritarian countries led by the Soviet Union, and the Western Bloc, which were mainly capitalist democratic countries, shown in blue and led by America. The Cold War was referred to as cold because there was no real big-scale war. The Cold War was a war of ideas, secrets and information. On the back of that was the fear of a potential global atomic war. The world had seen what had happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. After World War II, the Soviet Union took control of Poland, Czechoslovakia and Hungary and enforced the political and social ideas of communism and socialism. Division was widespread. In Germany, the capital Berlin was divided by a wall, and in Europe itself by a metaphorical Iron Curtain. Under communism, people are not allowed to own property or work to earn money for their families. Instead, they lived in a government-owned housing and worked on communal farms or in factories. Pro-communist supporters would argue that communism brings guaranteed employment, good education, free healthcare, and almost no crime. However, critics of communism would say that it brings negative issues such as desperate poverty, no freedom, and constant fear of the secret police, who arrested people for just speaking out against the government. This difference in ideas on what would make a nation great also affected the allies of the USA, like us. Fear of nuclear war, fear of communism and socialism, which we will explore at a later date. Fear of spies. In Arthur Miller's The Crucible, a play, it's my favourite play of all time, is a great parallel of the effects that fear of ideas can have. It is also a metaphor for the tensions of the Cold War and the fear of corruption from within. The Cold War did not see big global conflicts, but it did see several localized wars with big effects. The Korean War and the Vietnam War were two of these big little wars. The Korean War between 1950 and 1953 fought between North Korea and South Korea. The Vietnam War fought between 1956 and 1975 between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. The purpose of these wars was to stop the spread of communism. Australia supported the USA in South Korea with 17,000 troops, of which 340 died and 15,000 were injured. In South Vietnam, Australia supported America with 60,000 troops, of which 521 died and approximately 300 were injured. The results of these two wars were mixed. In the Korea War, it resulted in two separate countries, a communist and a democratic country. In Vietnam, however, it was a fail, and the result was a communist Vietnam. The Vietnam War had a deep impact on Australia, more so because when the war ended in 1975, the West had lost the war. Politically and socially, it was a big blow to the idea of democracy, capitalism, and the role of our nation in working with or against other countries. Conscription, which was forcing young people to join the army, was a big issue, as well as homeland hostility. People felt that we had no right to be involved, and this resulted in hostile receptions for our soldiers when they got home from war, especially since this was the first war where America and its allies had lost. The Cold War and consequently the Korean War and Vietnam War had far-reaching effects for Australia, but we will cover these in class. For now, watch the video again, make sure you take some notes, and please get some questions ready. Let's dig deeper. I'll see you in class.